Hey, what's up, guys? Sean here from CarShareData.com. I'm super excited because this is going to give you a very good overview and insight to what's on the other side once you register for an account here with us at CarShare. So we're going to show you case studies, some use cases, and kind of do a couple of walkthroughs of the pricing tool and the dashboard so you can see what's all inside. So why CarShare Data? We are the premier Turo marketing visualization local market data dashboard. Okay, we also, though, are not exclusive for Turo users. Okay, if you're a rental car agency owner, if you are using Avail, Hire Car, any of those car share platforms, this is perfect for you. We also are pulling data from Trivago, Kayak, Priceline, and a host of others so that you can see not only what's going on in the car share world, but what's going on in the rental car marketplace in your local area as well, because that information is vital too. People that are looking at Turo are also looking at Priceline, Trivago, Kayak, so on and so forth. So it's important that you know all of the KPIs and metrics across your local market. We're actively monitoring 450,000 plus vehicles every single day, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and updating our dashboards with that vehicle data. And we look at everything. We're tracking over 1,000 different data points from year, make, model, daily prices, discounts being offered, how many trips, how many days. We're looking at by city, by zip code, and we've got all kinds of different interactive cards that you can look at and drill down, monitoring specific makes, monitoring specific models. You can even import your own performance data, your own sales metrics, your own Turo data, and benchmark that against what's going on in your local market as a whole. And our system and machine learning will actually look for opportunities to improve, whether that be on pricing, increasing rates, decreasing rates, increasing utilization. You'll set up your goals within the system, and then it'll automatically alert you when there's an opportunity here. On average, we're seeing our users get a $300 per month per vehicle increase in revenue. All right. Now, these are averages. This isn't a guaranteed number, but I can tell you on average, you're looking at $300 or 30% increases across the board. I'm going to show you a couple examples of how that looks. Data is the fundamentals of everything that you do. Okay. It helps you to build a data-driven business and make data-driven decisions to help you increase your efficiency, utilization, and your profits. We're going to help you refine your pricing methodology, monitor, measure, and evaluate your local market, benchmark your results against the against your local market, and make adjustments accordingly. So the rental car industry is super, super competitive, probably one of the most competitive in the US. And, it's been dominated by the big five, your Sixt, your Enterprise, Hertz, Avis, Budget, National, for decades, right? The distinct advantage that these guys have over Turo Host or small independent agency, rental agencies, is their massive pools of data. They've got so much consumer data, rental data, expense data, market data, data on competitors. It allows them to squeeze out more profits out of every reservation, every mile, every week, every day, every hour, at every opportunity. And we at CarShare Data seek to level the playing field by exposing all of this market data that you need in order to operate at the same level with these same data points that the juggernauts have for decades. All right. Data is no longer the weakness. It's going to strengthen your every decision with CarShare Data. Okay. The rental industry is one of the most competitive data-driven industries on the planet, second probably only to the insurance industry. And I happen to have been active in both of those. I worked at Enterprise for 2 years. I was a licensed insurance agent for 7 years. And I'm also an active powerhouse on the Turo platform, as well as direct rentals at executiveclassrentals.com. We do just over 1,000 reservations a year. We've got about 30 cars, and we specialize in the luxury class. We also have limousine service. But here's a cool snippet out of a podcast interview with Stephen Scher, the CEO of Hertz Rental Car. He says that the industry is quickly headed down a path of AI and machine learning, which will be handling most of the daily operational decisions, making virtually all of the pricing decisions and KPI measures, while humans are there to fill in the gaps. That's a strong sentiment of where the industry is headed. So you have to understand that you've got to know the data. No data is career suicide. It provides the basis of everything that essentially makes up your business and the industry in which you're operating in. It tells you everything that you need to know about your consumer habits, tendencies, preferences, local market conditions, supply and demand, and everything that's vital. Every vital piece of information is going to be found in your data. So this is like having a full-time data analyst that doesn't make mistakes because it's all machine learning and AI. And you're getting every market that Turo's in, marketed, tracked. And if you've got a specific market that you want, you just send it to us and we'll make it happen. So here's an example of what the data visualization board looks like. And these are fully customizable. They're interactive. They're not static PDFs. You can add users to it. You can set alerts. Very, very cool system. There's another video after this that you can see just working through that. So you can see that it's ongoing, perpetual. So you can play with your date ranges with the drop downs. You can toggle between models and makes. You can monitor certain makes and models and not others, so that you can monitor just what's relevant to you and not be overloaded with data. You're not going to waste hours scrolling through Turo trying to jot notes down and figure out and make sense of it all. It's in very easy to use tables, charts, and graphs. Okay, so here's a trip count by model. You can see how many trips for this given period in the month of November were taken by 5 Series BMWs, Maserati Ghiblis, Escalades, F-Types, and again, you can customize that however you want. This is the average daily rate by make, so Lamborghini, Bentley, Alfa, Jag, Audi, these are all the models that we have, and I want to see what the average daily rate is. And so what I can also do is set alerts to say, hey, if there's a 10% increase or decrease in any of these makes within my geographical region, I want an alert. So that way it can trigger me to say, hey, prices have gone up by 10% on BMWs. I need to go and raise mine. So I don't have to be checking and constantly reviewing. The system's going to tell me once we set it up, and our team will set that up for you. We can look at the average daily rate by cities, by model. We can look at the discounts that are being offered, 7-day, 3-day, 30-day, and we can know what our competitors are offering. We can see what the star rating is for a particular vehicle. Just a lot of very helpful, useful, absolutely critical information. And we also measure things like our marketing metrics. So this will show me where people are finding me right now. I've got a website, a Google business page, a Facebook page. If you don't have these things, we can also help you set those up. Very, very inexpensive to do so. It's fully managed, full custom website. We can help you integrate direct softwares to do direct rentals if you want to do that. A whole world of information will come out of that. So we can see where people are finding us, from what platforms like social media, Facebook, Instagram, Google, search, organic, paid. We can see whether they're going to our website, requesting directions, if they're calling us. You can see here in the month of November of this year, we had 326 call-in leads. We have a phone system that integrates with Google that will track where the phone call is coming from. It'll track what keywords were typed to find us and to get to our website. So it links in directly to the website, links into the Google business page through direct API integration. We can see average time on site. There's just a ton of information, guys. Now, this is an example of what our pricing tool, we've also got a pricing tool, and I'll dive in and show you what that looks like. But first, I want to show you the results of the pricing tool. We had a 32% increase on this Maserati Ghibli in Dallas, Texas. Before we used CarShare data and had all this information at our fingertips, we were getting $96.20 a day. Probably doing the same thing that many of you are, going through manually scrolling and just kind of trying to get an idea of what other people are offering and being somewhere in there, right? But those people may or may not have any clue what they're doing. So we're basing our pricing off of other people. It's like the blind leading the blind, right? We average 16 and a half days per rent, per month, and 193 miles a day. Now, our tool is going to show you how you have to break everything down on a per mile basis. That's going to make or break you, understanding your operational costs on a per mile basis. How much does it cost you to move that car for 1 mile? And then pricing everything based on that, because everything in the vehicle world is done by miles. Everything is rated for a certain number of miles. Your transmission, your tires, your oil change, everything is done by miles. So your pricing should be as well. Once we integrated and started utilizing this data, we were able to get our average daily rate to 127. Now, the average daily rate in the marketplace is only 103. So you can see we're well above the local market, whereas we were below the local market, and we increased 32% there on the revenue. And we only sacrificed 3 days, right? A lot of times, if you're going to increase by a third, you would think that you would lose a third of your rental days, right? Not the case. And that's what shows you that the pricing is accurate. Okay. We didn't lose a ton of days. So where you're basically at a trade-off and you're at a net zero gain. We only lost 3 days. Most likely those were bad, unprofitable days that we shaved off. Average days per mile, or average miles per day, went down to 116 from 193, which is a 40% improvement. BMW 650, average daily 79.50 before, up to 109, 37% increase. Average days 16 before, down to 13, but we shaved off the 3 extra days that were just costing us money and costing us miles. We shaved off 12% better mileage on this one. You can see we had 91 days rented at 77.93, on pace for $20,000 revenue year. But this will get better and better every single month that we continue to utilize the data. Here's an example of the information that you put into the pricing tool, and it'll give you a rate, a minimum and a target daily rate based on the inputs here. So you look at your number of days rented, you look at your finance charges, how much is your monthly payment, your tire replacements, your car washes, your oil change, daily mileage allowance. So you have to figure out how many miles a day am I going to set for people to travel, and your pricing has to coincide with that. Again, we're in markets all over the place. We're in the United States, Brazil, Europe, Thailand, all over the world. I also want to point out Xenial HQ, XENIALHQ.com. Think about Facebook groups and all the different Turo Facebook groups out there. What we've done is we've built a Turo community, a hosting community globally. So there's one single place. You don't have to log in and request and follow all the different rules of all the different groups. We've essentially got that all covered in a single community here. Highly encourage you to check them out. And you're also going to earn free cryptocurrency for utilizing the platform. It's an amazing, amazing thing, but check that out. Let me jump over here and show you a couple of the screens and what it looks like. So here's our Maserati inputs. We can see our daily mileage allowance, 150, finance charges, oil change, tire replacement, car wash, and then it spits out a result. So if you're managing people's cars, this is a great tool for you to take this, PDF it, and show them, hey, this is what we're expecting to earn on this car, and here's why, and here's our profits, and you can set your splits accordingly. Okay, so what it shows us is that we've got one vehicle, 7 reservations a month, 15 days. So this is recapping the inputs from above, and then it says our average daily days per trip is 2.1. Average monthly miles is going to be about 2250. So you can set the expectation. You're going to see about 2,000 to 3,000 miles per month put on the car. Your operational cost in this example is 90 cents a mile. Okay, so if you're giving 100 miles, then you should at a minimum be pricing it at $90 a day. In this case, at 150, we need to be pricing at 132 a day. Okay, and now there's going to be give and take because they're not going to always travel. This is obviously over compensating and conservatively estimating, right? Just because you gave them 150 doesn't mean they're going to use 150, but this is just under the assumption that they're going to use all 150 every single day that the car's out. In that case, 132. In our case, you can see that we were at 127, which was very profitable because we only averaged 116. So that additional 16 miles per day for the 17 days, that's all just, I guess, breathing room, for lack of a better term. The target rate for this vehicle is going to be 196. Probably not going to get that on Turo, but we do get that kind of money direct. Your break even here is finance charge break even. This is important metrics. You need that to be between 5 and 7. If you're over 7, you really need to consider not taking that unit in because there's not enough days for profit. What it's doing is taking your daily rate and saying, hey, can we cover the finance charges alone for this vehicle within 5 to 7 days? Because on average, you're going to get 15 to 19 days of rent, and you want those first 5 to 7 to cover the car. If not, that means you're probably spending too much money per month on finance charges alone for that vehicle. You either need to put a bigger down payment or think about another car where your payment isn't going to be so high. What that's going to do is going to allow you between 10 and 14 days of profit, gross profit anyway. So if you're at $100 a day, then this kind of gives you a good round figure to say, hey, if I'm going to make between 10 days and 14 days of profit at $100 a day, that's going to be $1,000 of gross profit before maintenance, right? And before any partner splits or anything like that, per vehicle, per unit, right? So that's kind of the numbers that we operate. I want all of my cars are at least $100 a day, so that I can say each unit I'm going to make $1,000 of gross profit every month. At 30 units, $30,000 a month in gross profit. Earnings forecast 2970, and I'll tell you that is pretty darn accurate. We average probably between 25 and $2,900 a month on the Maserati following this formula. So it's very, very accurate. Okay. Here's the visualization dashboard. This is all interactive. You can hover over all of this. You can get, different, you can rearrange it. You can change your date range. You can even forecast, right? So you can look at what's popular, current, previous, and forecast into the future. What is this daily rate going to look like in the future? What are the average daily, daily rate by make going to be in the future? If it continues to trend based on the data that's in there, it'll be able to forecast and tell you this is what's going to happen in the future. And this will also do the same with your own earnings. So these are Q4 earnings for our team of 2021. And so I'll just go and populate this so we can have some data. And then we can see what is the total revenue per make in Q4 of last year. So we can see Chevy, Porsche, Maserati, Ford, Audi, Alfa, Mercedes, BMW. We can see how many days of rent we got in each of these by make. We can see how much revenue was brought in on last minute boost. We can see how many days by model by month. We can see how much revenue by model. So we can look at by make and by model. And we can figure out what percentage of our revenue total came from every specific model. And all of this can be drilled down. I can eliminate some of the makes or models that I'm not wanting to look at. So you don't have to watch all the makes and models that aren't relevant. If you've got 3 different make and models, you only have to monitor 3 of these, right? You don't have to have them all listed. So it's fully customizable and interactive that way. If you want to compare against previous periods, you just select the box. It'll compare and contrast that period, or you can compare against market data. So many different ways to slice and dice this information. And then also here's our marketing metrics and where people are finding us. We can see that, searches by source, we've had 74,000 searches that we've shown up to. It shows you discovery. Discovery is when people are typing in rental car, Dallas, Texas, right? Branded is going to be, they type in some sort of brand, whether it's Turo, Ford, convertible, something like that. And then we've got direct traffic, average time on site, 2 minutes, new versus returning, whether they came from social, what platform, just a ton of information, guys. Super, super powerful tool. And you've got the pricing tool. Highly encourage you guys, sign up for this, set up a time, go through a personalized demo. If you want to grow your business and you want to have a full-time data analyst, guys, you'll pay 50 grand a year salary for a true data analyst that will provide you this type of information. And it's all done on autopilot. And if you sign up now, it's absolutely free. All right. So we've got free alerts. You can get text message alerts for opportunities to raise or lower prices. If you say, hey, if this car, which car makes more, we get that question all that. What car should I put in my fleet? Well, how much are they making? What's the average daily rate in your area? Without this, you wouldn't know that a Dodge Ram actually brings in on average more daily rate than a Maserati. Far less expensive to maintain than a Maserati. So in this market, does it make sense to put a Maserati or a Dodge Ram? Probably a Dodge Ram, right? So a lot of great stuff that you can do here. I don't know. I can't imagine trying to fumble around and operate without this type of information. Check it out, carsharedata.com, and please check out our partner, xenialhq.com, XENIALHQ.com.